Okay, it's a no-brainer that now everybody is worried or concerned about the coronavirus. People in China especially, and there are also some cases in other Asian countries, and some people in some Asian countries like the Philippines or Malaysia, they are also worried or concerned about the spread of this virus. And people living in the US, even though there are only a few cases, no more than 10 so far in the US, but judging by the Twitter feeds, when I did sentiment analysis, people living in the US, especially in California, Arizona, and Washington, are somewhat concerned about the spread of this virus. So, this was a program I wrote in the R programming language to analyze the Twitter feeds coming from these three states: California, Arizona, and Washington state. And this is what I found from my sentiment analysis. And the numbers are going to change if I conduct the same analysis tomorrow, next week, next month. So, as we can see from this diagram, most people in California, despite having 3 cases detected, they are somewhat neutral about coronavirus, judging by the sentiments of the tweets. And there are also a bunch of people, close to 300 people, that are somewhat concerned or have somewhat of a negative stance towards this virus. But the negative stance is not very intense in my opinion. The score is just -1. And there are only a minority of tweets from California that have very intense negative feelings pertaining to the virus. And there are also some people in California that feels optimistic about this pandemic. Maybe they feel that their government has everything under control. But we cannot be too sure until we read the tweets very carefully. And there's a way to export the tweets into spreadsheet format like a CSV file. So if we are curious, we can export the tweet by writing an R program into a spreadsheet, and we can analyze the tweets more carefully to see why some tweets are more positive. And in Arizona, majority of people, despite 2 cases being detected in Maricopa County, as of today, January 31st, 2020, the majority of the people in Arizona are still optimistic, somewhat optimistic about maybe things were still under control to this day, despite 2 cases being detected. And there's also quite a number of people or tweets in Arizona that has somewhat of a negative stance pertaining to the virus. But not much people in Arizona have intense feelings in a negative or positive way towards the virus. But I think it's still early to see, because to this day there's only 2 cases in Arizona, and we hope that there will be no more cases detected. Things will be under control in these 3 states. Ideally, we hope that the tweets will improve ideally we hope that there'll be more positive tweets, or there'll be more tweets with positive sentiments in these 3 states. And we also hope that the virus will never spread to the other states in the US. So in Washington, to this day, despite 1 case being detected in Everett City, majority of the tweets tends to be neutral. And there's also a handful of tweets that are tilted somewhat towards a negative or a positive stance in Washington. But it's still a bit early to be seen, because I think the cases detected in all 3 states, I think they begin around January 25th. So I think it's still early to be seen, and the numbers will change. So I wrote programs in R to analyze the sentiments of tweets from California, Arizona, and Washington pertaining to coronavirus. Because a total of 6 people have been confirmed having this virus, so I use a list of positive and negative words compiled by Hu and Liu. And if you want to know more, you can Google Hu and Liu word list. And here are the programs I ran for all 3 states. First, I extract Twitter feeds from California using the keywords, and I limit my search to tweets in English. And if you Google, I think the cases detected in all 3 states, they began around January 25th. So I set my tweet to start at January 25th, and I requested for 10,000 tweets. Sometimes maybe it's better to request for more tweets, and it's okay to let to let our program give us a warning. They only return 1,200 tweets, and the number of tweets increased every time I do a Twitter search on coronavirus in a given place. I think we can only expect the number of tweets to increase every time we run the same syntax. And then I clean up the tweets by deleting punctuations, deleting or removing the URLs, deleting the stop words, and so on and so forth, to make them easier to compare to the positive and negative word lists. And here are the results I found for California. And we can also do a histogram for the tweets and their scores for a given state. So this is my histogram for Washington. Because my syntax are almost the same, or essentially the same, I just change the name of the state when I do a Twitter search. So R will always give me histograms of the last state being ran, in this case Washington. And after that, I repeated the same syntax by changing the keywords here to Arizona. And everything is essentially the same. and I clean the tweets again. So as you can see, my syntax are essentially the same. I just changed the name of the state in here through the keywords. And this is what I found for Arizona. And we can also view the first 6 tweets to see, just to make sure we do things correctly. And because there's only one case detected in Everett City in Washington, so I initially did a Twitter search using the geocode for Everett City, but I did not find anything from Twitter, and I had to broaden my search by changing the keywords to Everett instead of using the geocode. And again, Twitter did not return any results. So I have to further broaden my search to limit my search just to Washington without any city name or without any geocode. And here, Twitter returned 106 tweets pertaining to coronavirus in the Washington state. Again, I clean my tweets to make it easier to compare to the positive and negative word list. And this is what I found for Washington state, and they correspond to your table in here. And we can just look at the first few tweets just to make sure we ran our analysis correctly. So, as you can see from here, even though we are using a technique in computer science or statistics or data science, but the topic is a social science topic, and the topic is also related to sociology, and I'm trained as a sociologist, but I have a master's in data science. So, a few last words here. As a professor, I encourage my students in sociology or in other social science disciplines to learn programming or to learn some statistics. And now, with big data, we have data at a faster speed. We can get data at a faster speed or rate within a short period of time. Just look at my R syntax. When I analyzed this morning, the number was less than 100, and when I analyzed the same data for Washington again, the tweets increased. So this tells us that we can get data at a much faster rate in today's society. The same thing for Arizona. When I analyzed the same data by doing a Twitter search this morning, I got around 900 tweets, and when I analyzed the Twitter feeds again, I have slightly over 2,000 feeds just within the day. So this tells us that we can get data at a much faster rate in today's society, and we can also get a variety of data. Our data is not limited to something like Excel or database that takes the form of a row and column. So because of that, I encourage my students in sociology or in social science to learn something about programming, to learn something about big data, to learn something about statistics. And by doing so, because maybe we already have domain knowledge, this topic is also related to sociology or medical sociology. And given our domain knowledge, combined with a technique in stats, in data science, or in programming, we can uncover people's sentiments to any topic in the social science or any topic related to sociology. So I hope that my students will not be intimidated when they learn programming, when they learn big data or data science, or when they learn statistics. When you have a domain knowledge, things can be a lot less daunting when you learn programming, when you learn math, when you learn statistics, or when you learn a technique in big data or data science. Okay, thanks for listening.